so much, Natalia, for this opportunity. So myself and Hima Bindu, I am managing director of 3 companies. So one is Novel Patent Services, the other one is Novel IPR Academy, and the latest firm that I have started is Novel Innovation Design Studio. My journey began like I'm basically a pharma graduate with post-graduation in biomedical engineering from Bindu. So after this, I just got into patents, and it was not my passion, or I never had dreamt that there would be such a field called as patents in which I would settle today. So this novel patent services was started 12 years back in a small room. It was just an idea that was born out. So while we started it, it was only with 2 employees, out of which I was one founder. So I just started this up, and slowly now, it was only me. I was an all-rounder. I was the sweeper of the company. I was the MD of the company, first of all. I was the sweeper. I was the tea maker. I was the accounts manager. I was the document writer. I was the resource person. So what not, everything. Yeah, it was. I had no money also to start, because it's a normal, I would call a middle class family from which I came, and I started this after marriage. That too, while I was carrying and expecting my first baby. So this firm is almost at the age of my elder. So when we started this off, I had no plans where would it go, but I simply started off, and I just wanted to make some difference in the technical field that I am passionate about. So when I eventually started this out, and it was something on patents that I started, and patents was a very nascent field by then. As you all know, not even today that most of us know what patent is or how is it useful. So it was with a passion to help or assist the R&D, the research and development side. So we just started working with a couple of engineers who were all together new to this IT field. So every day they would come, have an intro of what the work was, and then just go about it. So more than half, it was 3/4 of my time which was spent in training or explaining employees what IP was all about. Later on, to carry out the work and all, it was very, I would say that I had no time for myself. And for few days, I think I still remember those 1 week's time that I have spent with my newborn child, where it was only feeding her and taking her out, and I had my parental assistance. I would only sit in front of the computer working all day, continuously for 5 days without getting up, because there was a crash on my systems that I just took it out for granted. So the basics of how NPS originated is, it just originated from the air, I would just call it as, because there was no, I would call it as funds, no infrastructure, we had no building, nothing. It was a simply rented, not even rented, I would say a helping out room, which I was asked to share by one of our neighbors. So I just took a simple room in which I placed 5 rented computers, no systems also. So it was on rented systems that I just played with, and it was an internet that we had, because it was a mandate. So on that we just started off, and once we took off, we just developed, and once we took off and finally got the work in hand and we started operations, I think we just had one of the buildings which was very nearby to my place, because I had a very, it was only who should be fed.
Yes.
Right. So I just took a place which is nearby to my home, and everything, right from recruitment, the mandates of starting a proper office, and the office that we started was directly a private limited firm. So usually it would go like we would start alone, a partnership, and then it would expand to a private limited. But in my case, I directly opted for a private limited company, where mandates were much more larger in the documentation side, and I have to be stringent on all the other rules. There were many laws which I was not aware of. So all the PF, we call it here. Whatever the mandates for the employees, so those have to be dealt with. My work has to be dealt with. The training has to be dealt with. The office infrastructure establishment has to be dealt with. The funds also are the mandate which are to be dealt with. So I would just take up each and every role. From my personal front, I had to meet many of these things, manage my time. So time management was really a big hurdle. So we had to manage time for ourselves, for my newborn child and my newborn office, because it consumed a lot of time. And from then I had to establish the infrastructure. So each selection of the infrastructure and putting it up live with the resources, like the people who would work with, was another one more challenge for us. So we would consume on an average 1 hour per candidate that we would have interview, and in each of this 1 hour, 45 minutes used to go on training them or explaining them about their career, and it was only 15 minutes that the interview was actually conducted. Yeah, so this used to be there, and attrition was also a challenge because YSAG was very nascent at that stage, exposed to technical mode of working, and everybody by then was habituated to go to IT, which was very fascinating. The other fascinating thing for most of the engineers is leaving the place where they studied, migrating to a new place, trying there without their parents. So that's easy for them. So nobody would stay here in this place that they belong to and work here, that too in an unknown field. So that was a major challenge. But apart from all the, what gender is the entrepreneur, who belongs to, be it man or be it woman, it is an entrepreneur who has to, get onto their shoes and work or establish the things. The only thing that distinguishes us, according to me, is we have many to-do lists. Like, say for example, if it is X of to-do list for men, now X plus Y becomes our list. Because we have many packages which also comes with, I would call this as, the to-do and also compassion that comes in along with the ladies who has to, take care of many other things, because we can't leave the family. We have to take care of that. We have to take care of our food. We have to take care of many things that belong to us and then come to this place. But yet this also belongs to us now. So, while doing such a large dimension of things, I felt procuring funds as one of the major challenges, but not very difficult one. Because while we procure, funds, the need or the ideology or the business has to be well understood by the banks, at least to lend loans. That too, when collaterals, we didn't know that there were many schemes provided even by the government, because we didn't know whom to approach. It's not like how it is now. When you see now, you have many incubation centers, many accelerate, investment firms, or many government and support that governments comes to us, and it at least shows you a path, like you do this, you get this. It was not the same time then. We didn't know that there was a path in the government where you could procure loans that were collateral free. So it was a difficult time for me going around and getting a loan. Of course, we took help of a few experienced people in this, but though we were clients to them, it is our duty to convince the bank. It was not that the people would do the job for you. Never. Though you pay, it is our duty to go convince the managers, tell them, explain them about our business, and anything that is not seen or anything which is intangible, nobody would believe. And IPR is an intangible asset, and it is an intangible work. So people would come and just look that it is a system-based work. So, but the tangible assets, like the infrastructure that I told you, I think that was one of the things which persuaded them to that. Okay, something is going on here. These guys are working. They have some systems in place. They have an office in place. This is what the impression that made them to believe or lend money is what I believe. But it was a hard work. Like it was not that I pay somebody and get the service from there. No, it was even my efforts that would go, my time that would go, my labor that would go, and also along with me, my daughter also had to travel because I was feeding her. I used to carry her in the car. Okay, feed her, get it, work, come and again go. So this was the case nearly 2 years. But though it took off, it was quite good because later on when I look back, okay, this was my hard work that paid off to me. So from 2 employees, we eventually grew up to 18 employees in less than 1 year, and we started taking up orders from most of the MNCs. So we became the facilitators for most of the MNCs, R&Ds, organizations, and slowly it started off. But later on, when the employees walked in, they needed a particular name and fame of the company, which of course all the youngsters might look at the fancy things that they would want. So it was at that time that we established a proper, a name plate, or till that time we didn't have any board. We didn't have any publicity.
Yes.
So it was at that time that we actually had our hoardings and boards, and we slowly started out coming ourselves and telling that there is a firm which works in patents, because we were very reluctant to say that we are working in patents because nobody knew what a patent was. Ultimately, they knew that this is something which has systems similar to an internet cafe which was running, and engineers are walking in, and people used to just look at us and say, why engineers even for this? But people who were working with us, they always used to feel that because whatever work that they do, it was related to a technical thing. And right from you take any of the industry verticals, aviation, yes, we have a team. Electronics, electrical, chemical, pharma, medical. So whatever the field is, we have that expertise to which we have grown. So like that, from 2 employees, today we have 84 employees working with us, 84 full-time engineers working with us, and now we have a proper own facility as well, which is constructed opposite to IIM, and this is our own facility, exclusive office. So having traveled till here, apart from this office, we are also present at 2 other locations in Vizag itself. So one is the MedTech Park, where we are partners with them, and we work from there related to all the medical devices and things like that. And with respect to cancer research, we work at a place which is near to the Varunai House. So we have one more office there. So these are our 3 locations. Apart from this, we have a Houston office where 3 of the employees are currently working from there as well. So this is where we have grown. But if you ask me challenges, I think it is fighting oneself, like fighting ourselves is the major challenge that we always have to do. Because people think that once we become entrepreneurs, it is our wish, whatever we want, we can do. But it is not whatever that we want we could do. It is whatever we do should be at least, because people look up to you.
Yes.
What we do, people learn from you sometimes. People try to criticize you many a times. So a bit of watchfulness is what is needed. But I do not say that that is the most needed skill of your life, because it's never like that. You be to yourself, do your job, because passion always is important to decide in what field you are and how do you enjoy. But remuneration is also a parcel and pack which is attached to the passion, because if you have passion, you don't get remuneration. It is going to be a short life a job. So but if your passion is fueled up with remuneration, I think that is a long-term business that one could expect. But apart from this, I think when I say challenging oneself in business, we are very young, and the inner self propels us forward to combat any battle that comes in picture. So appudu I don't think there is a need for us to push or just go forward. We are never ever tired of facing any sort of challenges. But when we wanted to grow, not for us, see, it's like a pressure that we have.
Yes.
Playing in a gully, it doesn't make a difference, but when you represent a team and go and play between audience, it does make